and basically said, you want to resign today or you're going to be fired. And he resigned. Now, I tell you this story because not every situation involving police misconduct has an ending like that. Because police officers have the same rights as everyone else, and they have to be found guilty, and they go through a process, and they can sometimes go to court, as is the case in the Coconut Grove situation, where 3 officers have already been arrested. And I can tell you without a doubt that the planting of evidence by a police officer is the absolute worst kind of conduct that takes away all the confidence that a community would have in law enforcement if you plant evidence. And that case is not over yet. And I can assure you that all of the officers who were involved in covering up or planting evidence are going to be appropriately prosecuted, and those are the kind of police officers we don't want. But let me go back to the other story. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that officer. 25-year veteran with an alcohol problem. Had never brought the alcoholism to work before, and because it's not against the law to be an alcoholic, as long as you come to work every day, whether you're a cop or a firefighter or a lawyer or whatever, and you do your job. But on this particular night, that officer brought that alcohol problem with his gun and his badge. And all I can tell you is, I did that night what I felt was right to move that officer out of the department and get a cop who doesn't belong in law enforcement off. But it isn't always that easy. And one of the disagreements I had with Pulse, and I can understand their frustration, is the officer negotiated a plea. And he pled to reckless endangerment of a weapon, and that plea was accepted by the state attorney, and he wasn't prosecuted for aggravated battery or aggravated assault. But that's the way our system works. Cops, like everybody else, are able to use the system. Let me just end by saying, and I know I just have another minute, I can feel Congresswoman Meek's eyes piercing through me. I came to Miami in 1972 at a time when more police officers policed in white neighborhoods than in black neighborhoods. I was taught when I came here that we were giving more attention to the wealthier, more white neighborhoods of Miami. And now today, we are aggressively policing because black citizens are asking for more aggressive police to make their neighborhood safer. And I can tell you right now that there are more people who come and say we want more cops than less. And unfortunately, when there are more police officers, there are more arrests, there are more of these kinds of incidents. All I can tell you is, as long as I'm here, I will work as hard as I can to ensure that police misconduct is not tolerated. My heart goes out to the people who told these stories. And while everybody knows, and I know too, there are 2 sides to every story, and I understand that, but I also know there are legitimate, on-the-record cases of police misconduct, and they've been written about and spoken about, and I think we're all committed to try to rid police forces of those kinds of people. But remember what I told you earlier, and some of our cops were here before they went back to work, and if you look at them, they're young. They're our children. They're not bad people. And we need to help them and encourage them and nurture them to do the right things for all of us. The vast majority, you come to an academy graduation, it's open to the public, they're 21 and 22 years old. And they're white and they're black, they're Haitian, they're Hispanic, they're a cross-section of Miami. And they need our support. And if we give them that support, they themselves will be able to develop a system where that so-called code of silence will be put to rest. It was Miami police officers who came forward and talked about misconduct of other officers in that case in Coconut Grove. And we want to open the door so police officers feel comfortable that if they see misbehavior, that they know that they're not going to be persecuted by their own ranks if they come forward and tell the truth. And that's where we all have to work together. We're not perfect. It's not a perfect system. Again, my heart goes out to some of the things I heard here today. All I can tell you is you've got my commitment to continue to do what we've been doing, and and make truly servants of the people exactly what police are. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Chief Warsaw.
Continue to do what we can do, and that's what everybody's complaining about.
Thank you for coming out to hear these cases, and we certainly look forward to the fact that you've heard them and the fact that you will make it ever present to the police force that this community is tired of some of the treatment, the kinds of treatment that you heard today. And you've made your commitment to seeing that these things don't happen again, and we cannot be brutalized by our own police force. And we're glad you're here, and we're glad that Director Alvarez is here. If you have some words, Mr. Alvarez, to address these problems, we'd be happy to hear it. And then we're going to ask Major Thor if she wants to respond as well. And then we're going to ask Mr. Conyers to come on.
Thank you very much. I'll keep it brief. Basically, I'd like to reiterate what Don just said, Chief Warsaw, and that is that as a police department, we will not tolerate cases of police misconduct, that we will investigate them as hard as we can. We'll go as far as we can with them, and we'll take whatever action is appropriate when we find the results. Now, you know, what I hear and what I feel from the crowd is that there's a lack of trust. And what I'm asking is that you keep an open mind when you hear about cases, because a lot of times what you hear and what has actually happened are two different stories. So what I'm asking of the crowd is just keep an open mind and work with the police department in making this a better community.
All right?
Thank you.
Let's allow the law enforcement people to talk as much as, until their time is out. That's why we invited them here. We want them to hear what you're saying. All right? You're next, Major.
You'll never hear me say, you won't hear me say there is no racism, and you won't hear me say there's no sexism, and all the other people that have been lumped in a category mistreated. You won't hear me say that because I know that's not real, and I know you all wouldn't buy off on it, but I truly don't believe it. I can tell you this, that my counterparts here are at an unfair advantage because they have a lot more people than we do, and to even hear one story is very disheartening. What I need is meetings like this. I need to have the information. I can't act, I can't take any action, I can't correct it if I don't know about it. And that's probably my fault because I don't live in a black community, and I'm not white. I'll never know what it is to be black. But I can get an understanding, one, from the people that I know, from the people that I work with, and from these types of meetings. So I would ask you all, please, not to judge all of our agencies on the actions of some of them, as you would not want people to judge you based on your color or your sex or your national origin. So these cases are bad on face. I would ask you to give us the opportunity to investigate the cases, and I can tell you this. You can talk to my people that work for me here in Dade, Monroe County, and they will tell you that I'm very hard on them. I have a tough reputation. I don't have tolerance even for the smallest amount of misconduct. So we're going to get it from both ends, and that's okay, but I have got to have the information, and I can assure you, and my people will tell you, I will not tolerate it. And I know that Chief Warshaw and Director Alvarez are the same way. They have the same set of ethics and morals and values and standards of conduct that I do. They just have a lot more people. So I appreciate you telling me this. I need that feedback, and I hope, Mr. Shiver, you'll still please give me the information, because I will follow up with it. And I'll do everything that I can do, because I don't condone it, and I won't.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We appreciate the fact if this town hall meeting had been given in some cities, there wouldn't have been any law enforcement here. They wouldn't have felt any obligation to be here. And that's why I want to thank our law enforcement representatives for being here today to face the music and to hear what you have to say. And now, the congressman from Michigan. I don't know what he's going to say. You never know what the congressman's going to say. We welcome you again, Congressman Carney. I want to say something before you start, Congressman. I don't know whether you all know the person in the Congress who has made me the person I am when it comes to the fight for Haitian justice. Yes. And that was John Conyers. Yes. John Conyers has been there. When I got to the Congress, he had done so many things that it wasn't hard for me to just read and follow what this man had done. So you need to know that there are a lot of African Americans who need to step out and say, we stand for Haitian justice, because that's justice for us. And if you're standing on the side, then you haven't heard anything that you've heard up here today. It hasn't done any good, because your Haitian brothers and sisters need your help. You are American citizens. They don't want them to be American citizens. So you got to help. And this is the man who's going, well, I can't talk too much about John Conyers. I'll just let him go ahead and talk. Go ahead, John Conyers.
I am going to Haiti on August the 12th, and Carrie Meeks, my personal sweetheart, is invited to go
He's
with
already married and he has a young wife. Two beautiful children.
But this is confession time, you all. I'm seeking your forgiveness. It's a one-day in with Chairman Ben Gilman. It's his Codell, if you could go for one day. We're working. I'm glad you mentioned that. Now, the police officers that our first witness could only remember them by alphabet, we're talking about Sergeant Frank Frisinda, Maylene Gomez, and Detective Timothy Peavy, just for the record. Okay, now let's start from the beginning. Congresswoman Meek has already said it. We thank the police chiefs and directors and the major for coming. Do that again. Thank you for coming. And now we want to thank them for some more times that they will be coming after this time. Okay? You see, the reason is that 200 years worth of injustice can't get cleared up in an afternoon. Now, the first thing we have to get clear is that all police officers are not bad or evil. Some of our best friends are police law enforcement people. On the record, everybody 100% agrees. I mean that sincerely. Now, let's move on, though. Everybody up here knows exactly what's going on. I don't have to stay here to find this out. It's going on everywhere. So we're all starting off right here. Okay. Number 3, the Acting Attorney General for Civil Rights, Bill Land Lee, is coming here at the invitation of Congresswoman Carrie Meek and me, okay? And I can assure you of his appearance. He will be here. And we will continue to document every single allegation of police misconduct in Florida, not Miami, in the whole state, with all these great organizations.
And the exit are 3 doors, forward and 1 rear, 4 window exits over the wing, and an additional exit at the back of the aircraft. If there is a loss of electrical power, emergency track lighting installed near the floor will illuminate behind you. All of this information can be found in the passenger safety instrument from the seat. Hold the cushion of your chest with the straps facing away. Put your arms through the straps on the other side and hold your wrist. To be clear for takeoff, and seat must be upright.
Bobby?
Original floor. Oh, I appreciate it, sweetheart. My high school.
Oh, can I get in?
The old magnificent buildings, many of which are majestic skyscraper. This is the house that I grew up in, 1840 Rose Street. You know, when I was a kid, a small boy, this used to be my bedroom. 3rd floor. Sometimes we used to climb out on the ledge. And this was our sitting room where we had the TV. In my youth, I used to go to the movies here. The New Granada Theater, where I watched all the Twist movies. The ornate stone and masonry work. My introduction to American justice took place right here.